Yeah, because you don't want Elegy 19 in your wedding. You don't want that one because that one's a little racy.
Well, I thought.
And which one did you say was called Ecstasy?
Yeah, I think so. The Ecstasy or something. It's really beautiful. I read it from Bethesda, and I'm like, it sounds like when we fell in love with each other.
Oh yeah, we actually didn't finish the sonnets, did we? There was two more we had to do real quick before we'd even do done.
No, I think we did finish the sonnets. I think we finished talking about that.
Okay. They're ready to do your quizzes on the sonnets too, so I guess it is.
We didn't have a discussion post on the sonnets, though, right?
No discussion post on the sonnets. It was just a quiz. Well, then let's just move on to done then. If that's, I mean, we'll just do that because we need more time with done anyway.
Do it. What is that?
It's fate.
No, I really like.
Or nature's changing course on trends. That's Shakespeare. Let's see. What do we start with? Let's start with the stupid one. Not stupid.
It's called the Ecstasy.
So where's your ecstasy poem? I'm very curious. I might just read it. Ecstasy. Oh, it's so big.
It's just this and then to the next one.
Oh my gosh. We're not even reading that one. We don't have time. We don't have time. I'll have to read it after class. And if you want, I'll read it after class and we can have a whole discussion about it.
Oh, no, you're fine.
Tabitha. I'm here. I love learning, but not today. Not today. We're not going to learn today. All right, so we'll talk about the flea.
Okay.
Because actually, I kind of want to start with Holy Sonnet 10 because I like it the least. But I'm afraid y'all will talk about it if I mention it.
What page is it?
691. Let's go 691.
Okay.
Because I don't like it. Not that I don't like it, it's just so
What, the flea?
blah. No, I'm going to skip to 691 and do Holy Sonnet 10. So, 691 Holy Sonnet. I need a book because this thing's. I need support for the other side of this book. Did I even recording? I think I said recording, right? Oh, hey, real quick. If you've emailed me and asked me to open something, I haven't yet.
Yeah.
I will open it to. I'm not even gonna say today. I guess you should hear a brief preview of my week that I'll try to make super brief so we can actually talk about fun stuff. Yeah, and time me. I don't know when I should stop, but just time me. Make sure that you point out if I'm taking too long.
You're taking too long.
Yeah, I'm already. My wife has gone at a conference, so I have been taking care of my daughter and bathing and all that kind of stuff that she usually would do half of, and I'm now doing all of it. And she usually does the stuff that's very particular to her, like getting her lunches ready and things, because she likes to have control over that and like what she's wearing. And I've been doing all that stuff too, so I've been exhausted every night. So I'm not getting anything done on Monday and Tuesday night for sure. She's coming back tonight, but very late. Tomorrow's Halloween. We have a little shark costume for the baby.
College Station,
Yes.
My mom went to that.
Yeah. So she's going to that as well, with her department.
She's like, I'll be back on Wednesday. I'm like, I didn't even know she was going until I dropped her off at work, and she's like, oh my God.
It's such a short conference. They're literally talking about stuff like one day, and then tonight she's coming back. Like, she's going to come back on Wednesday, but Chrissy was like, I want to see my baby. I'm coming back. I'm like, there's no way you're going to make it in time to see the baby. There's no way. And she's like, I want to do it anyway. And I was like, okay. So she'll get there at 10, like I think, probably. Y'all can ask me on Thursday. Well, no, you can't because I won't be here. Y'all remember classes canceled on Thursday?
Yeah. No. This Thursday?
Yes.
I thought that's when we're supposed to turn in our stuff.
It is.
Are we doing it online?
I have the. Yeah, you're going to do it on Blackboard. You turn in the thesis and proposal stuff online.
The work study. I wanted to talk to you on the paper after class.
Yeah, that's fine. We can do that. But. Okay, so. I guess I should address that real quick before I continue with what I was talking about with Halloween. But the research paper planning due Thursday of this week, but we're not going to have class. So what I would like y'all to do instead is you could go and watch either from the spring semester. Is that you? Okay. As long as I'm not going crazy. That's what I heard.
And things is not the beeping from the computer.
But the prior semester we had the spring where I talk about how to submit the planning and how to look up research and stuff like that. You can do that. Or I might actually even try to find a better video and put that on there as well. So one that's more detailed. But you'll just go on there and whatever video I have at the start of that class that it says you'll need to watch. That's the one that y'all could watch for help with how to get that submitted. Because I feel like that's going to be a lot of computer and working out how to work the technology, and it's going to take up a lot of time anyway, so it's a waste of time for us to lose a class for done and then me have a class where we talk about that the whole time. I just feel like you can get it from a video. And That is due this Thursday. So class is canceled this Thursday because I'll have to be going to the main campus from 1 to 3. Halloween, we're doing Halloween stuff. Thursday, we have already talked about the class being canceled. Friday, I'll also be going to the main campus again because we have the homecoming reception. And if you haven't been able to tell, my voice sounds kind of weird because I've been sick. Not super sick, like y'all are gonna have to worry, like you need to get out of the splash zone or anything. But I believe it's just allergies because I haven't had like a fever or anything. It's just my family's all got the same allergies right now. My daughter, my other daughter, and me. Chrissy doesn't, so I'm assuming it's some half of my genetics that's causing it. So that means that I probably won't have. I'll have some time to start opening quizzes today after class, but probably not a whole lot because I have to leave here by 4 to get Carly out of daycare. And then I probably will be mostly working on getting people's quizzes where they can take them on Friday. And whenever I open a quiz for you, I will email you and say, hey, the quiz is now open for you. It'll be open until this day. So you won't have to worry about like, hey, when will it be open and how long? Because I'll tell you. And then I think I'm like a week or two behind on the videos, getting those edited and uploaded, but I'll do that as well on Friday. That's what my plan is on Friday. And then I'll start grading research paper planning assignments on Thursday night, and then Saturday and Sunday I'll be doing that all day.
So Thursday no class, everything's still due.
Yes.
That's it.
And
Yes.
a works cited page.
And a thesis statement.
And a thesis.
And we need 6
Yes.
sources.
6 sources, but you need to go find 5 because the 6th source is your textbook.
Okay, so
Yeah.
technically 5 sources.
Yeah.
And then 2 needs to be database.
Mr. Nichols,
Yes. Yeah.
I have a question on where to get the resources. I know you had put 2 databases that we could go to find them, but when I went to click on that article, it didn't let me read the article. So I'm confused as to how I can use that database.
Which database were you using that didn't let you read the article?
Well, it was both that you had mentioned on the syllabus, on that one.
It wouldn't let you read the articles on either database?
Yeah. It said something about membership or something like that.
Oh, yeah. Did you Google the database?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't do that.
You gotta get to that.
The only way to get there is to go through. Oh wait, I can even show it on the thing because we have the computer hooked up.
It's my PJC, library services, and then for under quick links, and then it's on the left.
Yeah, let me just. It's not going to take very long, so I'll just hook up because this is necessary. A lot of people might need to see this as well.
Yeah, I had to do it in my English class too.
And didn't I figure out last time that it's actually quicker for me to just hook up to the daggum thing this way?
Yeah, but it makes a weird sound.
It makes a weird sound, so we'll have to. Oh yeah, it's right here with the element, so I could just flip it up, undo it. It'll start making noises.
For the article had to be in the campus.
What is it?
When we do the academic research or something, you say
Well, I hope I have enough time to do this.
Let's see. So, does it reach? If I get over a little bit further, it'll reach.
yeah. When I do it, one they not allow it. They say the server is not.
Don't you
allowing
have? Don't you have a login code for the databases though that
Yeah.
is specific?
In fact, I'll just show you real quick. It's like it'll show up on that video that I was going to show you, but I don't want y'all not to be able to search until Thursday. So let me see. This I think I can hit. What is it? Presentation view. And I can go to the PC view. Hey Carlos, do you see the computer view now?
Yes.
Well, I don't. You see something different. I don't know what you see. Let me see. Oh no. I'm sorry. You're seeing an Elmo. Give me a second. Now you see a computer view, right?
No.
Wait, that's not.
No.
So that's you don't see a cursor moving.
No.
Okay. Let me go to. Oh wait, I think it's far end video. Let me go back to.
So you gotta go to here.
Yeah, but I can.
Yeah, now you see a computer? Okay.
Oh.
And let me do the duo video for us
And then the databases are.
is also computer.
And you have off-campus, alpha, and topic. What's the good one? Off-campus databases?
Yeah, off campus. And then I got to get out of here for it to stay.
This is really small.
The type is really small, you said?
School number, and then what's the password?
Here, let me just show.
On here.
Are you talking about the Wi-Fi?
No, to log into the databases.
Oh yeah, I'll just show.
Mine's saved, so I don't remember what my password
I'll show everybody's. So, what you do is, do you still see the computer?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's see if this works. We can't now, so I'm going to change. Hopefully that stays. I'm going to open up a new window, so we're starting out fresh. So let's see, www.parishjc.edu, so our main website. Let me make it bigger. And then you got to go to quick links at the top. You scroll all the way down to library services on that list. And you click it.
I think that's so pretty.
Yeah, it's actually at the main library, that background. So this is, you scroll down slightly.
Is it stained glass?
I think. And then instead of clicking over here on databases, alpha, or topic, the only one that'll ever work for you, I believe, is databases off campus. So you'll click that. It'll take you to a screen where you have to put in your Blackboard login information, so your student ID and your 8-digit birth date is what it should be, unless you've changed it. Now for me, I put something different. I always have this set to where I have to log in manually every time, because I don't ever want to be in a situation where I have to know a username and password and not remember it.
Oh, it's like me.
Yeah. Because it can be like tempting to do that, and then like later you have to know it at some point. You're like, oh, what do I
That's
do?
me right now, and I'm like, what's my password?
So depending on the needs of your topic, you may be able to find every single thing you're looking for in Academic Search Complete. And I believe by default it has full text checked as a box right down here. If y'all can see my cursor. The full text checkbox means that it'll only find you articles that you can actually read. So, Brenda, you should be in luck. It should let you see everything. So if I search like, I figured out I can't search cosmetic surgery, because if I do that, sometimes it shows images of male and female genitalia in various states of cosmetic surgery. So I gotta use my other topic, which would be what? I don't know. Let's do gun control. How do we even work that in? What'd you say?
Cool. I said marriage.
Marriage. Why not? Marriage. And I hit enter. And then it gives me these different marriage topics. Oh, goodness. You okay?
Oh, I thought you were like.
My suggestion to you all, and what I think is going to be the best, is it gives us 52,000 articles on marriage. That's a lot, right? So I'm probably going to limit it to scholarly peer-reviewed journals, because that's going to knock it usually down by a little more than half, 19,000. I'm probably less interested in, I don't know if you could tell this, but it says publication date 1887. Probably don't care as much about that. I'm probably looking to look at problems that are specific to now, so I'll probably just go to like 2000s. Is probably the best.
You want scholarly peer-reviewed, correct?
Scholarly peer-reviewed journal articles is what I'd like for you to try to include if you can.
But if you can't find anything, just as long as it's from the database.
And then check this box that says academic journals, so you can get rid of all these book reviews and magazines and books. Now this is if you have a topic that there probably is a lot of scientific research on it, like marriage. If you were doing something like the Westboro Baptist Church, there's not going to be academic journal articles really on that, so you'd have to look for news articles, and so that might be found in the other database. It just depends on the needs of your topic. Now within subject, you can look at specifically United States marriage laws, social aspects, psychological aspects, social conditions, law and legislation, religious aspects. They're all different sub areas that you can look at that'll help you limit down your subject a little bit. There's 22 articles on marriage just in William Shakespeare, which is kind of funny. This is blasphemous. There are 36 Jesus Christ marriage articles. He never got married. Okay, rarely do I get a big laugh at Silver Springs and not at Greenville at all, but that's what just happened. Like, y'all liked it, and they were like, screw you, Nichols. I don't like this joke at all. Guess we know where the real Christians are. In Silver Springs, Texas. Appreciate the jokes. No, I'm kidding. We're all equally whatever religious level we want to be. Of whatever religion. So, that is how to search for, like, say, marriage in this database. And you can, for your author, too, like, if you're doing, like, say, John Donne as your author, because that's what we're talking about this time. Notice there's not as many articles on him because there's 161. We do still need to have it limited to scholarly and peer-reviewed, and whatever your last limitation will be, it'll carry over. So it's still limited for me to 2018. But I need to do only academic journal articles and not book reviews, and that actually limits down on this particular subject half the articles. Because a lot of these are going to be book reviews on reviews people have written on books about John Donne. So you got to be careful as to, look at each article that pops up, and like I might not have anything to write here for the Onion Strait and the Far East, John Donne's global vision. I mean, I might not use that at all, but I might have something here in Violence of the Knowledge of God, John Donne and the Ordinance of Preaching, or Legal Evidence, Self-Betrayal in the case of John Donne's The Perfume. Because even though I'm not reading the poem The Perfume, I could still use the article and things that are said about John Donne in the article that might apply to what I'm writing. Because you don't have to find just stuff on your specific literary work. It could be the author's work in general, if that's what you need. And then I might as well go over here and show you the other database as well, since we're already here.
Mr. Nichols?
Yes. Too late, I've already backspaced.
When you, sorry, I have so many questions.
That's okay.
When you're talking about news, do you want it to be closer to the 2000s than anything else, or do you want something to, or like, what do you mean by that?
It depends on the topic. So if you did something like cosmetic surgery with one of these, cosmetic surgery is a more scientific topic, and there have probably been a lot of changes in the last 20 years. So you probably would want to limit it to, say, the last 10, 15 years. If you're doing something like artificial intelligence somehow and relating it to our literature, then and like our ability to use it, you'd probably want to limit it to the last 5 to 7 years, because that's the one that changes very frequently. But if you did something like, what would you call it? Like somehow like freedom of speech in the Constitution or something, or like one of the amendments to the Constitution. I mean, sometimes depending on the topic, that might not be something that's changed all that much in the last 50 years, so you could leave it open. And especially with our literature you're searching for, if you're searching for, say, John Donne, the kinds of things people were saying in even like the 1800s might be as relevant as the things being said today. So that the things people say about literature still matter throughout time in a way that it doesn't matter anymore. If I'm, say, writing an article about computers from the 60s, that's no longer relevant, because computers in the 60s, everything's changed since then. So that's why I say, like, it depends on the time as to what topic you have, as to whether or not something more recent is necessary. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Whistleblower.
Whistleblower? What's a whistleblower?
Mm-hmm.
Why are we asking? What's the context?
It's like, okay.
I feel like that's
just like
really talking with him.
No, I mean, like, literally, like,
like somebody who is like, is it somebody who like does really well and brags, or is it like a
No, it's
that's
somebody
tooting your
who
own horn?
exposes. That's another phrase. It's somebody who like exposes.
Is it like a snitch kind of?
Yeah.
Isn't it more related to like in like corporate settings?
It is.
Like
It is in a corporate setting.
Okay, yeah. So it's
Corporate
just somebody
corruption.
who, yeah.
Okay.
Who
Yeah.
exposes
So it's
like
like-
corruption or whatever.
Somebody who is a tattletale but not necessarily in a bad way. They just let everybody know that some bad thing's going on.
Yeah, so it's usually like a positive connotation.
Yeah.
Right?
Depending on the situation.
Like if you hear whistleblower, you assume that whatever they've shared was something that wasn't good. Right? Like something that needed to be shared?
Usually, depending on what's been whistleblown, sometimes there can be huge disagreements about whether or not what's been whistleblown is good or bad. And whether or not the person,
I was just wondering because the article I found talks about it, and I'm just.
Okay. It depends. Yeah, it depends on the scenario as to whether or not it's necessarily a good or bad thing. Now, Opposing Viewpoints Resource Center is a database you may end up using, but I think it's the less successful database. It's Opposing Viewpoints Resource Center. So here.
It's on the
Same page, yeah. Same. The Academic Search Complete's at the top.
So do you need one from Search Complete and that one?
I don't.
Do you have to have an opposing viewpoint? I saw something on the.
You don't. The only reason I'm providing this one as well is because if you have some topic that you're doing, like
where you need both sides.
No, this database is good for stuff you wouldn't necessarily find academic journals on yet. Like if I do, what's that guy's name? Kavanaugh. What's his first name? Brett. There it is. So if I look at Brett Kavanaugh, who just recently got nominated to the Supreme Court. No, I think he's on it now, right?
Yeah.
I can search Brett Kavanaugh on here, and now you have to be careful because it says it was searched and there are no results. But if you look, it by default searched for full text and peer-reviewed stuff, and that's the whole reason I came here was because I probably won't be able to find peer-reviewed articles on Brett Kavanaugh. So I'm going to uncheck this peer-reviewed box, and it's going to give me 4 reference articles, and over here you can see on the right. 15 images, 5 videos, 254 audio, 2,000 news articles, and 33 magazines. So on this database, I would use it probably for a topic that's relatively recent, if that's what I chose, and something that I would have to look up news articles for. So one thing I'm going to do here is go to news. I'm going to change this from relevance to newest. So it's going to sort and find me the newest articles first. So I'll find the most recent stuff about Brett Kavanaugh immediately. And now I usually don't like you to include CNN Wire sources, but depending on the needs and if it's a long enough article, and you can limit it by that. You can say on document type, I only want articles, not brief articles, because the brief articles won't give me much to write about. So I can only pick articles, and it'll give me still long stuff, hopefully. And maybe even in this case, CNN Wire articles will be relevant, because sometimes they tend to run on the short side. Yeah, that's not too bad at all. That could be used. So these are defined sources. It's more recent. If you look, this says October 26, 2018. So that's 4 days ago. They have an article on here from 4 days ago. So this database has news articles on it that are very, very recent in the event that you have a topic where news is important and the only way that you can do your research. Like with the Westboro Baptist Church guy. Like he didn't have anything that was academic journals. He only had... well, he did for his literature, but he only had like news for the Westboro Baptist Church stuff. Ugh, throat is killing me. Any more questions about this? I guess I could show you something real quick while we already have it up. I go to the bottom of this. Hold on.
Your voice does sound good.
Okay, at this point I'm honestly just having fun. I knew it was wrong like the moment I hit the button, but I wanted to show you this kind of like if did I ever show you the color-coded thesis? No. Let me show you that real quick. So
is this how you turn it in for the
Where is it color coded?
well, here's the problem is that the way you turn it in fact I think I've already submitted it in the other class. I'm just going to show you on Blackboard. It's probably easier. Let's go to Magnus Baraka's. Somebody's feet are going crazy.
my foot itches and I can't scratch it because I have boots on, so I'm stomping on the ground.
That's ridiculous. You know what I do is I will just take the boot off.
It's too much work.
Let's see. In fact, I've done it in the other class, so I'll just show that. And I'm gonna wait to make it bigger until I get where I want to be. Okay, so.
What?
Don't laugh.
Oh no.
Oh.
Um,
All of a sudden you just.
Guys, stop having fun.
This is a no fun zone. Okay?
This is research. This is not fun.
It can be.
Research can't be fun. That's why it's called research.
It can be interesting.
You're just researching for things. Like you've searched for it once, now you're doing it again. It's never fun the second time. So this is essentially how it gets submitted. Is when you get it submitted, you should see what I see here. You should see your thesis on the right.
Okay.
Because you're going to submit it in the comments box.
Oh. So.
And you'll submit your works cited. It'll be as like it's the essay.
I guess it's on.
So when you usually hit like start new, so I'm going to copy this thesis here. If I hit start new, this is what you usually see to submit a paper. You'll browse my computer to find the works cited, and you'll check the box, but you'll paste your thesis into the comments box.
Got you. Okay.
And it looks a little small, I think, from where y'all are in Silver Springs, but hopefully you can still see it. It looks like where you usually submit your papers. And then you'll hit submit, and then it'll submit the document. I'm just going to hit cancel, though, so we can see the way it's supposed to look. So when you get it done and you've submitted it, you should see your work cited on the left, your thesis on the right, and here's a color-coded version of that. So you can see the elements that your thesis should contain.
So how did you get it like that?
How did I what?
Color coded.
Color coded, you don't have to do that. I just did that for myself.
Oh. Show the different parts of it.
Yeah, to show you all the different parts and like what each one has to contain. So the blue is like the basic stuff that every single thesis will have to contain, which is the human problem, the real world issue, and the story or poem. All of those things will need to be there. So like Minister's Black Veil is the literature. Westboro Baptist Church is the real world issue, so it's what's going on in the world that's a problem. And then what links those two is hypocrisy. So that's the human problem that links the two. And then you're making a claim about them, how they link together. So Hawthorne's portrayal of the hypocritical townsfolk is nearly identical to the protests of those people in a sense that both claim a profound level of morality, only as others around them commit sin, never themselves. And hopefully you're also implying, you don't have to state it directly, but you're implying why this even matters. Because, you know, it shouldn't just be something like you're making a comparison like, oh, look how they compare. That's neat, right? You should have a purpose for it. So in this case, it's important because hypocrisy is problematic and the people who are disrespected at the funerals are robbed of their opportunity to grieve. And having people profess hate, claiming that it's love spreads disrespect, doing more harm than good. So essentially, they need to stop. Mm-hmm. And so you're sort of implying throughout your paper that this is a bad thing, they should stop doing it. And this is why. So it should look like this over here in the feedback comments box. You should construct it like this, but you don't have to do your own color coding. And your works cited should appear on the left like that. And I actually am okay with if you have the thesis included in the main document as well of the works cited. That way you have it in two places in case something goes wrong with the comment box and it's not there. And I go, where's your thesis? I only see a works cited. Do you have any additional questions?
And
yes.
website is MLA format, right?
What now? MLA format?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Excuse me. Did I hear another question over there in Silver Springs getting formed?
Yeah, it's going funny, but so on the works cited page, you just want the articles that we're gonna be using, or that we had, because like with me, I couldn't get through the database, so I didn't have the appropriate works cited page, so I have to go and actually look through that database and actually get the right articles from there. So can I just put the ones that I think I'm going to use or that I might use, or like what?
Or just the ones we have to turn in have to be the exact ones that we use?
Yeah, like it is a tentative works cited page, so they are subject to change. I will tell you that if you submit the ones that you did not find in the database, I'm probably going to say go find different ones.
Yeah.
So when the ones you find in the database, even if you haven't had a chance to look at them yet, you can still submit them and say, well, this sounds like it's going to work. And then I can get it approved, and you can go ahead and start writing your paper and know that your ideal will work and everything. But in terms of like, can you have additional articles in addition to this works cited that you find later? You can add more articles, just they kind of need to follow the same level of credibility and quality as the ones that I approved originally.
Oh, okay.
If any of that makes sense or answers.
Okay, so like the works cited page that I turn in, it doesn't like really have to be the same one. I can actually take out one and add another, stuff like that. Just has to be similar to what you approved.
Yes, yeah. That's exactly right. The one issue that I did have one time was when somebody submitted one that was tentative, and I said, these are great, use this. And when they actually turned their paper in, they used a completely different works cited page. It was nothing but sources they found on Google. And I was like, yeah, redo this, the whole thing. Because their sources didn't work at all, and I would have told them had they proposed those to me that their Wikipedia articles were not incredibly helpful. So yeah, as long as you're following that general guideline of try to stick to what you gave me originally, and at least what it looks like, then that should be fine.
Okay, cool.
Okay, cool. We both said the same thing. That was funny. So you want to talk about John Donne? I may now make it, since we've basically done the whole video that I was going to show you on Thursday, say you may just watch a video of John Donne. I may just say do that instead, because I have a spring video or not spring video, but a fall video from last year of John Donne. I may just give y'all both videos and say, pick what you want. Whatever we don't cover today, I'll just have y'all look at it in video form. So I probably can't do all of my really, really fun stuff on, but I think it's important because y'all are about to turn this thing in. Y'all need to know what to do, I think. Right?
Yes.
I think it's important. Here, let's get it back to where we can see everybody again. Because this is stupid. Okay. So you still can't see. We can see you guys now, but you still can't see us. So we're gonna make it where you can see us. Oh wait. Presentation. That's what I was supposed to push. No. That's not it. Okay, there we go. We're gonna make it where main cam and main video also has, I think, main cam. I don't know. Y'all see us yet?
Yeah, we see.
Okay, cool. So I'm just gonna hit cancel now and hope everything works. What did I just do? Can y'all still see us?
You ended the call, I think.
I think I did.
How do you get it back?
I don't know. Daggum menu buttons right next to the OK, and for some reason the close button's right next to the cancel call button.
They're probably like, what happened?
No class.
Yay! On their side.
And they'll be so upset when it comes back on.
Like, it comes back on, they're gone already. Like, I'm out.
Yeah, Mutita has figured out this is a perfect place for a restroom break. Hey, John. I accidentally ended the call. I need you to come turn the call back on. I accidentally ended our call with Silver Springs. I need it reset. No, how's that gonna, no, I was going to the settings to show them the computer, and And then when I was switching it back to show them the camera again, my finger slipped, and I hit end call instead of close menu. Yeah. Okay. That's fun, huh? Well, now how come I'm not? Why don't I just do this? It's like it's got a number. Am I 903-387?
I don't know.
Hey, maybe just hit call. Let's
Just hit
try it.
call and see who gets
I
it.
did. That's what I did a minute ago.
Are you
And
sure?
it calls nothing.
Oh, that might be our.
Do they have to answer?
What is this? Place calls, missed calls, receive calls.
Oh, do they call us?
Call back.
Ooh. Ooh, now hit call. Oh.
Oh.
Hey,
Oh, we got it!
I figured it out. Or we did. I can't remember what. I don't remember who said what.
They were.
We're back.
They were out. He's like, come back.
Hold on. I gotta text John and say never mind. Or I gotta call John. Hold on. Let me call John and say never mind. Hold on. Oh wait, there he is. Hi, John. Yeah, I fixed it.
What'd you do?
Well, apparently this little bookmark button will show you like recent calls you've placed, and I saw received calls. I went to this call, called it back, and it did it immediately because I guess it was on suspension. It wasn't actually ended
Okay.
because it said suspended call. It's fixed.
Okay.
It's like it never happened.
You're a genius. I appreciate it, man.
You're a genius because you come up here every time you come up here, it fixes itself.
It does, doesn't it?
So you're the one.
It's all. It's just.
Oh no, I ended it again.
Oh.
I'm kidding. I just have to make it. I was kidding. All right, guy. I am so John done with that. All right, now appropriately, let's talk about the death poem because we almost killed the call.
No. Sonnet 10.
Sonnet 10, yes. I feel like we have enough time to like read the poems out loud, and that's about it. Here we go. So, Holy Sonnet 10. Death be not proud. I don't know why I said that's not the title.
It's pressed forward.
Yeah, but usually it's called the Death be not proud poem. Death be not proud, though some had called thee mighty and dreadful, for thou art not so. For those whom thou thinkest thou dost overthrow die not, poor death. Nor yet canst thou kill me. From rest and sleep, which but thy pictures be, much pleasure. Then from thee much more must flow, and soonest our best men with thee do go, rest of their bones and souls delivery. Thou art slave to fate, chance, kings, and desperate men, and dost with poison, war, and sickness dwell. And poppy or charms can make us sleep as well, and better than thy stroke. Why swellest thou then?
Wait, what?
I'm sorry. I just thought weird flex, but okay, because that kind of works here. Nothing.
Okay.
One short sleep past, we wake eternally, and death shall be no more. Death, thou shalt die. He's essentially saying, like, death, why do you brag about who you are? Because, I mean, you basically don't do anything because we are Christians and we love God. One of the things that it means is that when we die, it's just temporary. We'll be in heaven shortly after. Death doesn't actually kill anybody. He just comes along and I guess collects them because you're really slave to fate, chance, kings, desperate men, poison, war, sickness. I mean, those all do stuff. You just kind of come and collect. And then once people do, like we can fall asleep better with, you know, sleeping aids. With poppy or charms, and those can make us fall asleep, and that sleep is nicer and longer than the sleep we get in death, because the moment we die, boom, heaven. What? Yeah, I mean, they're forever. So we wake eternally. So you don't even matter. Like, why should we even worry about you?
Reminds me of that show, The Haunting of Hill House. Did you finish it?
Do not talk about it because I've started it now. You can't talk about it. Oh, are you gonna tell me that girl comes back alive?
No, that's not what I'm saying at all.
Okay, good, because you can't see. I take spoilers in all kinds of different directions. Even the hint of a spoiler. One time, somebody told me a movie was sad, and I knew the ending immediately. I was like, okay, so this character dies, because it wasn't a movie you would normally say was sad.
It's like a blessing and a curse to have that. I do the same thing. I'm pretty good at like predictions like that.
Man.
And you You just like the movie starts out like all lovey-dovey and
And
everything.
then you're
You're
like, I don't know.
Somebody's
I
gonna
try to
die.
guess it.
Yeah, like Lord of the Rings.
I've never seen.
No, I'm kidding. It starts out all lovey-dovey, which is not at all how Lord of the Rings starts. I just thought it'd be fun. Yeah, let's go to the flea now. We're gonna do some flea time. So I have to talk about this. The flea at 669.
It's before the other one that we just saw.
The flea is gross. Appropriately because it's about a flea, which is gross. This was actually a common type of poem at the time. You would equate you would somehow say that the flea biting somebody and getting their blood was kind of like a romantic symbol. You know? Sometimes it was a tick. I don't think they ever used mosquitoes though. But essentially like when it bites you, it bites me, it's got our blood together. Love.
I like Angelina Jolie and Ray Bob Thornton pushed me to the old. I don't think anyone gets what I'm saying, never mind.
Oh yeah, they're real people. Not in a movie they were in, but literally they got tattoos or something, or they put their
blood together.
in a vial and they kept it around each other's neck. That's just so weird. Yeah.
Ew, I would freak. I don't like blood like that.
I think it's really meant to be sort of a metaphor for a child. You know, because essentially that's what a child is. Your blood combines and creates a child. And that's supposed to be like a representation of the way you both combine, and now you have the genetic. Now they didn't know anything about genetics then, but I think they realized that a child came, it was a bit of both, because they knew enough to equate that. But the flea, I think, is meant to be some sort of weird, creepy version of that. We'll just look at it.
I read that it was like an excuse to get with
Get with it.
the woman.
Oh, now the poem itself, yeah, it's definitely like he's using it as that.
And I like when she squishes the bug. She's just like, oh, it's dead.
Yeah, she doesn't give a crap. She's like, and I love the way he writes women because it's really weird because he's always writing from the man's perspective, but I feel like the woman who says nothing in either poem, which is this one and Elegy 19, the woman kind of somehow in saying nothing has a personality. It's like he's merely reacting to her, but you can tell what she's like. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. Yeah, she's got the power. She's power. So he says, mark but this flea, and mark in this, how little that which thou deniest me is. Me it sucked first, and now sucks thee, and in this flea our two bloods mingled be. Okay, got it. Your blood, my blood, and the flea mixed. Got it. Thou knowest that this cannot be said a sin or shame or loss of maidenhead. So, did you lose your virginity when a flea bites you? No. You don't. Is it a sin when a flea bites you? No. You're fine. Yet this enjoys before it woo, and pampered swells with one blood made of two, and this, alas, is more than we would do. He's like, look, if we did the deed, the sexual deed as he's talking about here, then, I mean, this flea literally has mixed our blood together inside of it. That's worse than anything you and me are going to do. This is before they knew about STDs too, I think. Although they did know about...
I'm sure they had.
They knew about things like chlamydia and junk. They knew that you do this and then you get it. We don't know how, but it happens. Because I think they talked about the prostitutes had sicknesses, and they knew that the prostitutes got sick a lot and they didn't know why, but they knew that it had something to do with them being a prostitute. Maybe they just thought they were dirtier people. I don't know. But he says, this flea biting each of us and getting some blood is way worse than what we're going to do. There's no actual blood sharing. That would be disgusting. And he said, oh, stay, 3 lives and 1 flea spare will be almost, nay, more than married are. We're more than married inside this flea. More. This flea is you and I, and this our marriage bed and marriage temple is. It's so weird. So you're thinking the flea is a marriage bed. So, such a beautiful image. Though parents grudge and you, we are met, and cloistered in these living walls of jet. That's a cool word for black. Though use make you apt to kill me, let not to that self-murder added be, and sacrilege 3 sins and killing 3. So it says like, essentially like this is because it's worse than what we would do. The flea itself could be considered our marriage bed, like our bloods are mingled. We are one. So it's like the flea itself becomes like the bedroom and like the marriage bed, and we are in the marriage bed together. Like we are our tiny mingled blood bits inside this flea, and we are laying next to each other in the marriage bed. It almost sounds like something out of Beetlejuice.
They shouldn't.
Like
they haven't seen microscopic images of what a flea.
Yeah, I haven't seen that.
They're terrifying.
Yeah, they're very, very scary. And he says, let's not add to the fact that you won't have sex with me. It's killing me. Let's not add to that self-murder and sacrilege 3 sins and killing 3. So don't kill the flea, because if you kill the flea, you'll kill the flea, and you'll kill me, and you'll kill you, because our blood's in there. It'll be dead. He's like, you don't want to kill me and you and him. That's 3 murders and self-murder. That's bad. And he just, and I love his reaction.
Sounds like a good trick.
Cruel and sudden, hast thou since purpled thy nail in blood of innocence? So she killed it. He's like, don't kill it. And she just goes, I got him.
They're actually really hard to kill and get out.
And you gotta like.
Yeah, that's when it says purpled thy nail. So like literally she says like purpled thy nail. I'm thinking it's like she's got him against the hard surface. He goes, because it pops when the flea, it goes, and so purpled thy nail, because it does, it kind of explodes. So it just goes on there, and she's like, ha. And he's like, how dare you? And she's like, serious, shut up. Like,
the bug.
Wherein could this flea guilty be, except in that drop which it sucked from thee? What has it done to you? Yet thou triumphst. I did it! And sayest that thou findest not thyself more the weaker now. He's like, do you feel weaker? You're like, no. Do I look weaker? No. He's like, you're right. We're not weaker. 'Tis true, then learn how false your fears be. Just so much honor when thou yieldst to me will waste as this flea's death took life from thee. So this flea bit you, took your freaking blood, right?
Yeah.
Do you feel like weaker? No. Do I feel weaker? No. So if we have sex, will we feel weaker? No. Will we feel bad? No. It does nothing. Sex does nothing. Except feels really great. And why don't you let me? He doesn't say that, but the implications.
This is where he's going to.
Yeah, he's not like, let us please be together so that we might have a child.
So at first he was like using the flea, and then he was like, okay, well, he's pulling everything.
Now that you have killed the flea, he's like, well, I'll use the dead flea. Well, we're fine, aren't we?
But.
And so, I mean, and really, if you think about that, it does bring up an interesting question to me. Like, that was a gross poem. I thought it's very interesting how it brings up that sex is very much like the meaning that we have behind sex is very much a social construct. If you've ever seen dogs have sex, have you really seen that? It's ridiculous. If you've ever seen it, you realize, my gosh, it's just, man, the animal world's so much more different. Like, they just do it, and they're done. There's no cuddling. There's no like, well, let me introduce you to my parents. It's just, I mean, they probably doesn't even know his parents anymore. So like, I think I have parents. Dogs, the animal world is so much more, like, it's so much different. Like, we've ascribed so much meaning to sex.
It's just instinct.
For the animals? Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I mean, like, it's very interesting how much meaning we've put on it. Like, as a species, we find meaning in everything humans do. And it's kind of like what makes us special is we ascribe meaning to lots and lots of things. We look for symbolic meaning. I think that those who've done research on religion in a scientific way and have come up with the idea that we've created religion says that essentially religion is one of the reasons that we've created is a search for meaning. And we create meaning out of other stuff too. We use religion to create meaning as like a way to create human relationships and to make those human relationships last. Not that I'm saying that religion was created, but those who've found like even the deepest parts of ourselves have said that like it comes out of the human need to find meaning in stuff. And it is interesting that we've taken the act by which we procreate. Maybe it's because it's so easy for us to procreate now. That we are the dominant species, that we don't feel the need to just procreate to make it happen. Like the animals do. Like they think, if I end up having 6 kids and 3 of them survive, the species goes on, lucky. we know that for the most part, our children will survive as long as we take care of them and there's no outstanding issues. So it gives us, I guess, the ability to choose and to hold back. You know, we don't have to just always, there's somebody to have sex with, let's have sex with them so we can have kids and then it'll further the species. Like, we're not like that. And so I think that that's something that this exposes, where essentially he's saying sex means nothing. And it's just like, no, that's what's unique about us, is that sex means everything to us. But it really doesn't technically, physically mean anything. Except for the possible STDs you could get, like pregnancies that could occur as a result. But in terms of, like, it's all us. Like, it's really cool. I don't know, it's really cool. Despite the fact that the poem itself is gross.
It is kind of interesting conversation.
Did anybody find the Sun Rising poem to be a very loving poem on 672? Like, where you're like, oh, this is really sweet. Anybody feel like that? Y'all are like, not really. That wasn't the one I read. Y'all must have it muted. I know y'all had to have giggled.
They don't think that's funny at all.
Not funny.
They have things straight.
It looks like they're doing that thing where they're like, I think he's talking to us.
Straight.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, that's what we said. We said it. That's what we did. All right, so yeah, 672 in the Norton Anthology of English Literature. That's the page number. And we're doing Sun Rising. And I've always read it like a dumb kid, so I'm going to read it like that now. Busy old fool, unruly sun, why dost thou thus through windows and through curtains call on us? Must to thy motions lovers' seasons run? Saucy, pedantic wretch, go chide late schoolboys and sour prentices. Go tell court huntsmen that the king will ride. Call country ants to harvest offices. Love all alike no season knows, nor clime, nor hours, days, months, which are the rags of time. Thy beams so reverent and strong, why shouldst thou think I could eclipse and cloud them with a wink, but that I would not lose her sight so long? If her eyes have not blinded thine, look, and tomorrow late tell me whether both the Indias of spice and mine be where thou left'st them, or lie here with me. Ask for those kings whom thou sawest yesterday, and thou shalt hear all here in one bed lay. She is all states, and all princes I, nothing else is. Princes do but play us. Compared to this, all honors mimic, all wealth alchemy. Thou, son, art half as happy as we, in that the world's contracted thus. Thine age asks ease. And since thy duties be to warm the world, that's done in warming us. Shine here to us, and thou art everywhere. This bed thy center is, these walls thy sphere. Maybe y'all didn't read it the same way. I don't know. But I've always thought it sounds like, it reminds me a lot of that When I Was 1 in 20 poem we had, like in 1302. The conceit of youth, you know, people's always thinking that they're, I'm so smart. And then like the next year you're like, boy, I was so dumb then, but now I'm so smart. You're like, now I'm 23 years old. I was so dumb at 22, you know. That's kind of just how we are. Like we always think that we've become so much wiser the next year. At least into a certain age. And like my age now, I'm like, I was so dumb at 30, but at 35, I've got it going on. And then I'm sure at 40, I'll be like, oh, but at 35, I was stupid. But 40 now, I'm so. And this right here is the kid. I mean, this sounds like such a kid. Like, son, why are you rising? Why do you make us do stuff? Go away. Like, he doesn't want to have to deal with the sun rising and, like, waking them up. And the next bit, he's still yelling at the sun. Why do you think you're so important, son? And then he says, I could make you go away, son, by, like, closing my eyes. You're gone. Where are you? Where are you, son? That's what he's saying in the play. It's so ridiculous. It's absurd. And then he says, he starts to think, wait, let me talk about my lady. He says, I would close my eyes, but except that I can't see her when I do. And then he starts talking about how great she is. He's like, why don't you go to like India and see if all the beauties of India are still there, or if they're here in the bed with me. You'll find they're right here with me. And How about you go look for all those kings that you rose and sat on the other day, and you'll find, no, they're all right here. So he says, she is all states. She is every nation in the world, and I am all the kings of all the nations of the world. And we're both here in this bed. So, son, maybe that's why you're rising on us. Because in rising on us, you're rising on the whole world. We are the world. Well, that sounds like a teenage relationship, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
We've known each other a month, and we are the world. Like, our love is the only love that has ever been. Because we've known each other a month. And we went to that party that one time, and we kissed. And this is real love. I don't know. I just find this to be childish. So let's go from the childish poem on to the very mature Elegy 19. Which I'm being facetious when I say that. 685. Note, I believe, that John Donne, when was he alive?
1600.
Yeah, he died in... come on, one more page. Come on, separate the pages here. 1631, and this poem, Elegy, was published in 1635. So again, it was published after his death.
So like what, somebody found his stuff and published it?
Yeah, I guess so. Because I doubt, because he was a preacher by trade. Like, that's what he did. So to have this poem about weird, like, sexy things. And you're probably, oh no, I'm sorry, 1669. Oh yeah, I forgot. I was looking at the wrong poem. 1669 is Elegy 19.
Preacher, that explains the meditation 17.
Yeah, because he has like sermons, which are good.
Would the ecstasy be like wedding vows?
I don't know, I haven't read it.
Because it sounds kind of like it to me.
And you declined my offer to talk about it after class, so it's whatever.
I did not. I'm okay with trying that. I would like to know more about it.
Okay, good. We can talk about it, and then we'll see. So, on amidst just going to bed, you may remember if 1302, maybe your class talked about it. My class did briefly, but to his coy mistress, it was a guy who was talking to like a woman who wouldn't have sex with him, and he wanted to have sex with her, and he said, listen, we're almost at a time in this world. Let's have sex. And that was sort of like the whole poem. And this was kind of in that same tradition, but this guy, he wrote this stuff first. But this poem, I think, is, to me, more hilarious for one particular reason. And we'll just read the poem first, then we'll get to why. Because this poem is not as really as bad as it seems at first. Like, it seems pretty bad, and it is, but I mean, it's not as bad as it seems.
What, Elegy 19?
Yeah, Elegy 19. So down at the bottom of 685. And I was wrong. This was published in 1669, 30 years after his death, and for good reason. Come, madam, come, all rest my powers defy. Until I labor, I in labor lie. So basically, until I have sex, it's very hard for me to just lie here, because it's like it's fretful. It's like, oh my gosh, we need to do something. And now this is really bad. This is probably why it wasn't published until 30 years after his death. The foe oft times having the foe in sight is tired with standing, though he never fight. Like, he knows who he needs to fight. And so he's at the ready. He's standing, ready to fight. But he's not being allowed to fight them, so he just keeps standing there. We're not talking about a person here. It's just standing erect, unable to not stand erect anymore, because what if he has to fight? So he's still standing there, and thus he's lying in labor. Am I making? Let me just say, it's a penis. He's talking about penis. In case that was unclear. Okay. And so then he says, like, that's the scenario. That's where he's starting at. He starts out with that, which is really messed up. Then he says, off with that girdle like heaven's own glistening, but a far fairer world encompassing. So he's basically undressing her one moment at a time. Unpin that spangled breastplate which you wear, that the eyes of busy fools may be stopped there. Unlace yourself, for that harmonious chime tells me from you that now it is bedtime. Off with that happy busk, which I envy, that still can be and still can stand so nigh. And that's another penis joke. He's saying, I envy the busk because it keeps its shape after it's taken off. He's like, I'm like jealous that it can just stand there forever and not have any problems. It's awful. Your gown going off, such beauty of state reveals, as when from flowery meads the hill's shadow steals. That's a complicated image. So like when the mount, like a hill, the sun is shining on the hill. As the sun rises, the shadow goes away and the flowery meadow is able to be seen. And so when the sun sets, the same thing happens. It's how like the shadow goes over the flowers and they can't see it anymore. So he says when your gown comes off, it reveals such a beautiful state, like a flowery meadow that's, finally in the sun. Off with that wiry coronet and show the hairy diadem on which on you doth grow. What? Hairy crown. Oh, okay, so it's like get the coronet off your hair and like your hair will flow down, like instead of being all built up there. Now off with those shoes and safely tread in this love-hallowed temple, this soft bed, and such white robes. Heaven's angels used to be received by men. So he's like, I think he's talking about in her full naked state, such white robes, alabaster skin. Thou, angel, brings with thee a heaven like Muhammad's paradise. And this is another really, really bad part. And though ill spirits walk in white, so ghosts walk in white, we easily know by these angels from an evil sprite. Those set our hairs, but these are flesh upright. So he says, like, scary ghosts make our hairs stand upright. When somebody touches you on the back of your neck, like the ghost touches you. He says, but a beauteous angel sets our flesh upright. Again, going back to the foe and the standing and the erection. And he's all about it. Like, he can't stop talking about it. And then he just starts getting excited thinking, he's like, license my roving hands and let them go, before, behind, between, above, below. I think of like this montage of like images of hands moving different places. It's so silly. It's like the way he talks is just so, I don't know, like it's so childish, like a child with a huge vocabulary. Oh, my America, my newfound land, my kingdom safeliest when with one man manned, my mine of precious stones, my empery. How blessed am I in this discovering thee. He's like, in discovering, I've discovered America. It's like discovering a whole new nation and discovering it. Enter in these bonds to be set free. There where my hand is set, my seal shall be. Apparently that was some sort of sex joke down below. It says like, mingle law with sex, signing a document. He'll now place a seal. Whatever. I don't know. I don't get it. But I trust their full nakedness. All joys are due to thee, as souls unbodied, bodies unclothed must be. Because souls don't wear clothes, why should bodies? To taste whole joys. And this is really clever and another complicated image, but gems which you women use are like Atalanta's balls. And Atalanta, he like threw these golden balls in front of a woman so she would stop and grab them so he could win the race. And it says that women use jewelry in that way, saying that when a fool's eyes lighteth on a gem, like a girl's wearing jewelry, it causes his soul to covet her soul, not the jewels. Like the guy doesn't want the jewelry. And I guess it's the same way as like a woman wearing like lingerie. Like for some reason the guy doesn't go, oh yeah, I really love this lingerie, and then like she takes it off and he's like, yes, come with me, lingerie. Like it's really weird. Like he wants the person underneath the lingerie, not the lingerie itself, even though the lingerie is meant. Isn't that weird?
He's very into he kind of he talks about old poets and how they would always discredit body language and like connections between the bodies, and do it all spiritual, but it's like you need the body to connect spiritually. Like he credits the body being a part of that. So he's very interested in like body language.
Is that something you read in the research or?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I was like looking up about him, and I was looking up about the ecstasy and stuff.
Yeah, for him it's very grounded in the real and the touching and like the physical, like he does.
And he felt like old poets kind of discredited that. They talk more about the spiritual and like connecting as one, but it's like he thinks to get that, like you have to connect physically.
It's interesting.
So he's very a physical, real person.
So that makes a whole lot of sense in this one.
Mm-hmm. And why he would want like you as you are and not everything else.
The stuff, the clothing, the outside arraignment. Arraignment, that's a law term that's not correctly used there. So wait, where was that? Oh yeah. Like pictures or like books, gay coverings made for laymen, are all women thus arrayed. Themselves are like mystic books, which only we, whom their imputed grace will dignify, must see revealed. So basically he said you have like nice pretty covers of the books, but a lot of people just want the book cover. He's like, but us who are great men really want to read the book. He's like, you women are books we want to read. And I was like, oh, how clever is that? Love that as an English teacher. Then since that I may know as liberally as to a midwife show thyself. This is such a weird image, and I think he means for it to be as comical as it sounds. Like, what is a midwife? What does she do?
Give birth.
Yeah, she helps you give birth. So what in a midwife? What is she mostly looking at a woman?
Yeah.
Like when she's like sitting there like it's on like a gynecologist table, and like she's just got her legs like spread open when he's waiting for a child. He's like, as liberally to like show thyself. But what woman would ever just do that in front of a guy? It just makes no sense. It does. It's meant to like I think sound completely silly and impossible, and like no woman would do that. Like in fact, I always think of this Wanda Sykes. There's a Wanda Sykes comedy show where like she says, man, these women were like out there. These women were like so in your face. She's like, I went to this strip club and this woman was just like, and she like lifts her leg up and says, look at it. And that's almost how it sounds. Like this woman is like, he's like, this is how I want you to approach me, and just be like, look, like, oh gosh, I'm sorry, ma'am. But it's like, yeah, completely shameless. And he says, cast all ye this white linen hence, here is no penance, much less innocence. And this is what I think makes this poem so great and so comic, and not as inappropriate as it first seems. To teach thee, I am naked first. Why then? What needst thou have more covering than a man? What these last two lines reveal is he's been talking the whole time about what he wishes she would do. Take your clothes off. Because in so doing, it'll be perfect and wonderful, huh?
Like a man's desires.
Yeah, he's been standing next to her, sitting next to her, saying, take this off and that off and this off and that off. It sounds like it's actually happening. But he's been asking her to do this. Like, show to me the way that we're meant to be shown to each other. At the end, he find out that to teach thee, I am naked first. So he's standing there awkwardly naked in front of her, saying, please take your clothes off. Like, I mean, can you imagine like a more like cringy, awkward moment? Like, he's like, please make love with me, and he's standing there naked, and you just stop, put it back on. And like, she's fully clothed still, like all the way, because he's been not at all convincing. And I think it makes him like this ridiculous person. Like, he's not even remotely being successful. And in both poems, The Flea and this one, the guy seems completely and totally desperate, and laughably so. In a way that I think in poems like To His Coy Mistress, like, it seems as though the guy is supposed to come across as the hero. And this, I really think he's supposed to come across as absolutely ridiculous. And it's so strange. That's why I feel like the same way I do about Sun Rising. Because these poems, like these love poems he had, are so different than the religious poem. And then also the sermon, which we don't have time to get to today. We will get time to get to. You can watch the video. But I will spend time on Meditation 17 no matter what. We'll find a time to talk about it continually. And then next week when we talk about Paradise Lost. By the way, set aside some time for Paradise Lost. It's big. Even the little small portions of the reading I have you doing. Just don't talk about book 1. Talk about book 2, book 9, or book 10. Those are the ones we're reading out of the like 15, 14 books that are in there.
Is that all by Doug?
What?
Is that all by Doug?
No, next week is Milton.
Milton.
And we're not going to have...
That next
Huh?
week. We're reading Paradise Lost next week.
Yeah, Paradise Lost is for next week,
So
and there
do we
will be a
have readings
discussion
this
both
week?
for that for sure, just like there was this week. What now?
Do we have readings this week, or is it just working on the paper pretty much?
There is readings, yeah. There's always readings.
What is it this week?
Paradise Lost.
Oh.
Oh,
Yeah,
so
I was
we'll talk about it next
We're
week.
talking about next week. We're reading it this
Oh,
weekend,
oh.
yeah.
Oh, I was confused.
In fact, I think that the weekend where we're actually writing about the week that the research paper is due. Oh, wait. What are we doing? What is this week? Week 10?
Mm-hmm.
Next week we're talking about Paradise Lost, and then next week we're talking about Gulliver's Travels. But only the first chapter. Well, first chapter in this, the intro and the first chapter. The first place he goes. Yeah, so that's what we're going to do. And then we don't have time to do Meditation 17, but we will find a time to do that, I guess, during the Paradise Lost week or the Gulliver's Travels week. But, I mean, I think if you just read the Meditation 17 slowly, I think you'll get what you need to get to have it for the quiz. I mean, I don't think I asked very hard questions about Meditation 17,
So
if I'm not mistaken.
the quiz for this week gonna be for the John Donne and the Johnson?
Yeah. I think that Johnson is not incredibly complicated, but I do have a video for like the spring semester or the fall semester of last year if you wanted to find out more. But I don't know. I don't think I made the quiz especially hard. And if you feel like the quiz is really hard when you read it, like there's stuff we should have covered in class and didn't, you can let me know and I'll give you like another attempt on it. From what I remember, the quiz is not incredibly hard that I wrote for this one. It's kind of not easy, but not super hard. Yeah, a good one.
You too.